Hello and welcome to Black Dragon Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Timeless Pick a Card reading, where we will be receiving guidance from Kali regarding your transformation at this time. I want to thank all of you so much for your support and comments. They really mean the world to me, and I'm very grateful for you. So without further ado, we have 3 piles for you to choose from. Pile 1, it's going to be this card. Pile 2, there we go, and pile 3. So if you need more time to select your pile, I'm leaving a still image now. If you want to pause the video, you can go ahead and do so, meditate, take your time, but when you're ready, I'll have the link to the pile selection in the description, where you can go ahead and choose your pile, and I look forward to seeing you in your reading. Hi, pile 1. If you chose this card, this is going to be your reading on your transformation, guidance from Kali on how you can, get through this transformation. We're going to leave this card, this oracle card, to the side for now. I'll get back to it a little bit later, but I wanted to start with actually astrology. Well, barely, just a little bit astrology. Mostly on what planets and stars are affecting you throughout this transformation. And I'm just going to mention them, and you can go ahead and look at your chart and see how it's relevant to you personally. But I have 3 of them. So, okay, yeah, 3. The first one is Taurus. So you might consider yourself to be a Taurus, or at least that's the energy you're in. Again, you'll have to look at your own chart and you'll know. But the second part is first quarter moon. So maybe this sort of energy becomes most apparent during first quarter moon. So just be mindful of that. Or that could have been when you were born during first quarter moon. And then finally we have square, which is usually a more difficult planetary interaction, but it also provides a lot of strength and focus with that. So it might show up in the reading, it might not, how these planets are relevant. So I'm just going to leave that up here for now. So the second part of the reading really is why is this transformation happening, before finally getting into the meat of the reading, which is Kali's guidance. Okay, so why is this yeah, that makes sense. Why is this transformation happening? We have the 7 of Cups, the 3 of Pentacles, there we go, the King of Swords, and the Death card, which is, of course, the transformation card. So definitely take this as a confirmation. I think there's a couple things here. For some of you, it's kind of like a narrowing down on different options that you've been thinking of, either with relationships or career, just where you want to go next. And the world seems a little so big, and it's kind of like this transformation is helping narrow down your choices, and also kind of focus in on your own energy and where you feel you'd be most suitable for others and for yourself. It's more of a focusing in, really. I think with the 3 of Pentacles and the King of Swords and Death, I don't know if some of you might see the shorts that I put up on YouTube. If not, it doesn't matter. It's fine. But I think there was one recent one where I had mentioned cutting people off, or I kind of feel as though there might have been people around you that have taken advantage of your desire to grow as a person, and it's like they've been sort of feeding on that a little bit. Of course, like if you have a family, that's one thing, but if there are people around that family circle who are just enjoying like your height, like okay, so where I work in the bar, there's alcohol, and it's up high. Usually there's a step or a ladder or something. That makes sense. But because there's no insurance and I'm not about to bust, I'm not gonna eat the floor for anybody. And I'm short. I'm 5'4", so I'd get one of the other bartenders or the bar manager to grab it for me, and I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that in this. But what I'm getting also with that whole example is like, maybe people are not willing to put themselves in danger, but they're more than happy to watch someone else try. And then if they, are able to make it, then they follow behind. But if not, then they'll just walk away. And that sort of energy has been holding me back for a while. And I think, especially with this King of Swords being here, and we see the butterfly, which of course represents evolution, transformation, and considering that there's a butterfly in the heart, this could represent an expansion of your heart chakra. And I think through that expansion, again, it helps make these choices easier. When you follow your heart, it doesn't matter what's on the surface. It's very intuitive, that wisdom that's very closely tied to the universe. The Death card, I just like this card. In general, it's one of my favorite in the tarot. And you see the contrast between night and day. So why? Part of it is it's natural. Why does a butterfly transform? And it's in its nature to do so. And maybe this is just this time for you to evolve and become brighter. And that's kind of where I'm seeing this card too. It says Krishnu. I'm going to read from it at the very end, but it's definitely fire, lots of fire. And this sort of, not only with the color red and not only with fire energy in general, but with this being having two heads, there's no way that they would not get attention. And maybe that's something you've been avoiding to a certain extent. And look at this, this is interesting. I didn't notice this. For this Three of Pentacles card, one of the figures has a crown. Hopefully you could see that. Like, what would a king or queen be doing, at the bottom here when someone else is, reaching for the stars? And I feel like that role is about to be switched or swapped. And it just feels like it's your time to show more of yourself. And even the shadow aspects, especially the shadow aspects. I mean, considering the last reading I did, which was the dark powers from your shadow, I think the reason why that, like, I wanted to do that was because the shadow really wants to reveal more of itself. And that shadow has a lot of wisdom and abilities, and I think a lot of people can resonate with those hidden influences, right? Not just that, but also the pain that people go through, that we all have in our lives. That's kind of what connects us all in a way. So finally, we're going to look at the guidance, the main part of the reading. What is Kali's guidance for this transformation for you? This one really wanted to pop up. I'm probably going to do 2 rows for this, but we'll see. Right. So the Three of Pentacles showed up twice in this card. So that's showing me you don't have to do it alone. I mentioned cutting people off, right? So it might seem like a contradiction, but really it's working with the right people. People who, like, in a Well, I guess in a sport, let's just say there is a sport, a make-believe sport that doesn't exist, or maybe basketball. Let's just say basketball, and one team has 3 players, and in that team, one person just wants to shoot, and they keep missing, but they don't pass the ball. This is very irritating. They won't pass, but they keep missing. And then you swap players, and then the other team, even if they miss, they're not trying to go over and over. They're willing to maybe play a different role within the team. So maybe they're more of a defensive player, or they just get rebounds. That's the only thing that they do, is get rebounds, and that might not seem significant, but when you take the whole picture of the team's abilities into play, that if one person from the other team misses, they lose the ball automatically, and that's a very powerful ability to have within a basketball team, 3-on-3, of course, like amateur-ish. But anyway, that's kind of like what this transformation is also nudging you to do, is find new players to play with that are more helpful. This is this 3 of Pentacles that came in the end of the row, and it's like they're building something completely different. It looks like they're building a shrine here, and it's interesting that that card came underneath the Death card, which would almost be, for some of you, building a shrine of who you used to be. Maybe like a collage, and maybe you can even consider doing a ritual of all of the journal entries of when you were really angry, and actually burning them and getting rid of them, as a celebration of leaving that behind, transmuting that, and moving forward as a new person, lighter and more confident in who you are. The first card that came out underneath the 7 of Cups is the 4 of Swords, and this person is tied up. The next card that came out was the Tower. This is feeling like there isn't much you can do regarding this transformation. It's something that's happening to you. It is for your best interest, for your best good, for your it's part of your evolution, natural evolution. But that being said, like, I wouldn't turn to try and avoid this either. Just sit tight, allow it to happen, and just, again, remember it's happening for you. And then we have what is this one? 7 of Swords, and then we have the King of Swords underneath the 7 of Swords, which is, I think, confirmation, right, of cutting off people who have maybe been deceptive, playing the role of a friend but not really being so. And even if you don't think they're actively engaged in like communicating these things to you, just by being around them, and they're trying to go one place in life, and you're trying to evolve in a different way, like those energies are tugging at each other, and they're keeping you both stuck, or more than. What's interesting is that there's 2 people here, and of course the 3 of Pentacles has 2 people in the background, and so this reading feels like part of this transformation has to do with like it's just breaking free from this environment, one where you take a leadership position, one where you feel like you have more to contribute, more to say. I think we're about done. I think I'll do a couple more cards, but and 2 of Cups. I'll end it with this, right? Maybe less is more. Less people involved in your life. I wouldn't tell, or try to keep as much of the way you feel during this time to yourself for now. So that means more journaling and less keeping to yourself. And then the 4 of Cups, or 4 of Pentacles. I wasn't looking at this card, I promise. And that doesn't mean that you always have to keep your feelings to yourself, keep your ideas where you want to be, who you want to be private, because again, that contradicts what I said about with the shadow wanting to express itself more. But right now, the people around you, the environment around you, is not gonna support you in the way that you need to be supported during this time. And that's what Kali is saying. And she is a goddess of severing these ties. So it's not too much of a surprise to see that just withdrawal, allow yourself to be in this energy. I remember in the last video there was a comment about the underworld card, and then I actually typed out what was in the book, and part of it was saying that when we're in the underworld, to just sit in it and not really expect an outcome, but when you allow yourself to be there, that's when significant sort of transformation happens. So let's look at the reading with, oh yeah, so Krishna now is number 41, which rounds to 5. Well, it doesn't round to 5, but it adds to 5. And actually, I'm looking at the camera, it says 15 right now, so that's interesting. But again, this fire is the result of this transformation. It's like the logs are creating friction that create fire, and that fire is creation, and that creation is the result of who you're becoming, really. I'm just going to read like a couple sentences. Okay, yeah. So, fire can create purification for regeneration, such as that is seen in a forest after it simultaneously burns away old growth and stimulates new seeds. In that sense, it is also the power of ripening, of bringing something from an idea or potential into fruition and fulfillment of innate purpose. The life-enhancing and alchemical properties of fire transform physical materials as well as the subtle body of the soul. Let's skip around a little. The holy fire is Kali, and she is within your soul. Follow the yearning, seek the light. Let yourself burn bright for what inspires you, and you shall see the path to fruition clearly before you. Believe in what is meant to be. And this ties back to what I'd mentioned in the beginning, that clarity of knowing where to go, who you want to be, following your inner fire, and allowing your fire to guide others to what they want. I do feel like this plow is meant to lead, maybe not the largest group in the history of the universe, but like-minded souls, and that's going to feel amazing. So yeah, I'll go ahead and end the reading with that. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments. I appreciate your support, your likes, and all that fun stuff, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 2. If you chose this card, this is going to be a reading on Kali's guidance regarding your transformation. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this card a bit later. I'll read from the book at the very end, so I'm going to leave this to the side. Yeah, right here. But first, I want to look at the astrology, your astrology that might be affecting you during this transformation. So you'll want to go ahead and look at your astrological chart and see maybe how these planets are interacting, or yeah, but it's gonna be very quick, don't worry. The first card that I have is Air. The second card is 6. And the third card is Neptune. So, yeah, these are the biggest influencers during your transformation. I'm probably not going to mention them again, but just so you know, and you can go ahead and look at your chart again and see how these are affecting you throughout this transformation that you're having. But first, I wanted to look at kind of why this transformation is happening to you right now. Yeah, so straight away we have the Ace of Cups, which, yeah, and Death. I'm not surprised to see that again. So Ace of Cups, the Hierophant, Death, and the Five of Wands. The Ace of Cups makes the most sense to me because of the number 6, which I associate with the heart chakra and the number 6 really a number of love and heart-centered movement, guidance, expression, things like that. Next to the Ace of Cups is, of course, the Hierophant. And the Hierophant's been popping up a lot, like a lot in personal readings, and I think in the shorts, the Hierophant's like constantly showing itself, which for me, given that this air sign is up again, it's showing, and I used the word expression, so there is a couple of things. It's like, for some reason, I'm thinking like creating your own religion, and I don't mean literally make a religion, but I think you'll naturally find people are willing to follow and listen to someone who follows their heart fully, and that's respectable regardless of the philosophies of whatever religion it is you practice. And I think maybe you've been surrounded by conflict, because I'm seeing that with the Five of Wands too, right? Yeah, actually, I think it was today that I had mentioned that. I don't remember, but you'll notice the shapes is there's a square, 2 triangles, and there is a triangle in that air card. So it's almost as if you've been surrounded by people who speak a lot, but they don't listen. And so in a similar way to pile, well, not exactly the same as pile 1, but it's about, I think you've been a very good listener, but for some reason it's like people don't want to listen to what you have to say, and I think that role is going to be reversed. The Death card, yin and yang showing up, definitely. I'm shaking the card like the focus is going to be better. But especially with the skulls here, and these two are closely related, this feels more like a severing off, but also speaking truth, right? And this truth is not necessarily, again, like a truth, not as in a research-based truth. It's not a truth based on what has been written already. It's more of expressing your own experience, which is, again, heart-centered. And if you look at the Hierophant card, this Hierophant has an eye right in the center of their chest. It's very hard to see. Hopefully you can see it. Right, getting closer. There we go. Yeah. So there's a heart right there. And there's eyes on this card too. I don't know. I find these two very closely related. So it's kind of like this transformation is happening not only to you, but the people around you. It's like a whole energy sphere, and it's trying to bring more balance, more peace into the environment, to the world as a whole. So it's not just happening to you, but you'll find that after this transformation, it'll be easier to talk to maybe the people around you, but I think people in general would be more open to hearing what it is that you have to say. So let's look at Kali's guidance during this transformation. What is Kali's wisdom? Wow. The last card that came up was, it says purification, the purification. I'm seeing that as a death card. Some of these cards I don't know, because they're not in English, and believe it or not, I don't speak Spanish. I understand it, but I don't know. It's what it is what it is. But with death and this card showing up together, I think for this pile, like, you're not gonna know. I'll get to it. Part of it is telling me that you're not gonna feel this as intensely as some of the other piles. In fact, it's like this transformation is the opposite of conflict. It's not intense, but it's actually like a release, and that release is the transformation. And it might catch you off guard, especially if you're expecting something big and bold and overwhelming. But let's see the other two cards. Wow, Two of Wands and that's not a Two of Wands. I have to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eight of Swords and the Two of Swords. I'm gonna get some extra cards, but what's interesting is that I'll show them to you. These images look very similar, right? But it kind of looked like Two of Wands. This card here looked like Two of Wands for a second. One is tied up, and one is wielding the swords, but a very similar positioning, right? Both at night with the moon showing up. And that moon kind of reminds me of this sword here, right? It's the same sort of shape, severing off. So as this person releases some of these swords, they become less tied up here, and begin to wield their own power. I'm probably get some more cards with that, but yeah, let's get another row actually. Nine of Cups, Eight of Wands, the Six of Cups, and the Temperance card. So part of this is like, if that does resonate for you, enjoy the piece. Like, allow yourself to be bored. It's actually a blessing. I think part of it is because you're kind of used to conflict. I'm used to having a lot of people around you. I also kind of see communication coming in from maybe a past loved one, or at least an old friend, old family member, but someone that you had a good connection with, speaking to you. Right, I'm seeing that specifically with these two cards. And I think that they speak to you when you're either bored and alone and just kind of chilling, hanging out, not doing much of anything. That's an opportune time, and that's kind of why Kali is asking you to enjoy that piece and to be bored. But also, this kind of happening at night, so maybe in your dreams you're connecting with, again, past loved ones who have something to say. And what they have to say will ultimately have something to do with kind of reigniting a passion that you've had, and balancing that out and bringing it into the real world, into the 3D, because again, through your own joy and being kind of like bathing in that joy, like you spread life around you. And I think that's part of this transformation, is the spreading of your own life, your own wisdom, and your own I'm kind of like seeing keys and flowers and things like that as an expression. It's like the opposite of boredom is dance and play, but by kind of uniting these two things, the stiffness that comes with this Taurus energy here, and the freedom and wild side that comes with Sagittarius, it's like you're not running away from one or the other, and that allows you to fully incorporate both energies as fully as possible. And I kind of see that for whatever reason here with these two cards, is that when you lean too far in one direction, it actually keeps you tied down to it. And the freedom is something that happens when you can enjoy the fullness and depth of both without feeling too attached to either one of them. So let's look at the book now for the first oracle card that came out, which was Kaja. Sorry. But what's interesting is the number 9, which showed up with this 9 of Cups here. Which is really all about the self. It's associated, the number 9, with the moon. So, and I see the moon showing up twice. Foundation. Let's see. Right. She wields the holy sword of divine severance, empowering the soul in radical letting go. So that makes sense. Where our strength of will may falter, she intervenes to ensure we do not sabotage our ultimate fulfillment and spiritual progress. Kaja is Sanskrit for sword. I'm not going to read that, I'm sorry. The sword severs, breaks, and destroys. It can be a symbol for truth and the need of the soul to let something go or someone go. So we're getting like repeating messages. I'll just skip that a little bit. When Kali Devi's sword appears as a message, she advises that whatever we are struggling with can and should be handed over to a higher power. So yeah, I'll just leave that there. If there's anything else I want to say, it's just like with Neptune and death and purification, like these cards all show me about something happening beneath the surface. So you're not really supposed to know, and I think that can be, in a way, a form of freedom from the burden of knowing what's going on. It'll be revealed to you when it needs to, but for now, like, stay as centered within yourself as you can. And again, when boredom strikes, that's an opportunity for spirit to communicate with you, or for you to communicate with your higher self or your shadow. That's like you time, and that should be valued instead of something that you would otherwise run away from and like scroll, TikTok or whatever. It's a very valuable time for healing and something that accelerates this transformation, which is ultimately something that you want. So yeah, I'm gonna end the reading with that. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this card, this is going to be your reading on guidance from Kali regarding your transformation. And what's interesting is that you chose the number 3 as well. I'm going to go ahead and read this, well, at least a couple sentences from the book about this oracle card at the very end of the reading. But for now, I wanted to start by looking at your astrology and what planets or astrological aspects are influencing you during your transformation. Excuse me. So you can go ahead and look at your chart and see how it's relevant. Or not, I guess. Okay. So we have new moon. Could represent when a period of time when this transformation is most evident for you. We have the number 4, Pisces, and 4th house. So 4 showing up twice. Could be some 4th house placements, but they could also just be the energy that you're in or transforming. Wow, into. That's pretty bad. Sorry. But the first thing I want to do, or I guess second thing I want to do, is look at why this transformation is happening. So guidance from Kali. Kali would be speaking through my black dragon guide as to why this transformation is happening right now. Yeah. I knew that. Okay. Well, the thing with the 4th house, I actually don't know much. I don't even know what the 4th house is. You know why? Because I don't have any planets in my 4th house, so I didn't even bother studying it. It's how stubborn I am. But the number 4 is all about stability, and I also think of the Emperor, which showed up. So, oh, and the fourth house is the heart, which connects to Pisces as well. But archetype of the mother, family, deep past, ancestors, home, DNA, instinct, emotion. What is your relationship to rootedness? And I'm kind of seeing like that being contrasting to Pisces, which would be unrooted and a bit floaty, and it's kind of like this transformation has to do with taking this ethereal, mystical energy and condensing it into something practical, pragmatic, and something that could be utilized on Earth. And I'm kind of seeing that as like the biggest part of this transformation, especially with the number 3, Kaladara. It's that color of Pisces, that blue, but with the horns, it's also solid with gold. And she really reminds me of the Empress, not the Empress, the High Priest, the High Priestess here. But with the Emperor showing up, holding the world, and that's just really something that reminds me of the number 4 and the 4th house. Not necessarily 4th house, but definitely the number 4. Creating structure and bringing dreams into reality with discipline. But I also see the World card, which makes sense given that this emperor is quite literally wielding the world. And so there is something that you want to create in your experience, but it can only manifest itself through like strategic, constant work and discipline. But so while there is that approach of not necessarily rigid, but definitely focused concentration work, consistency in your approach to whatever this is, the cool thing is that the outcome can be as dreamy and magical as you want it to be, as you daydream. So the daydream can be big, but the day-to-day has to be, at least at some points during the day, focused. The 5 of Pentacles and the 8 of Swords. This is the second time we saw the 8 of Swords in this reading. 5 of Pentacles as well. So we're asking why here, and we could already see a huge difference between, these are the first 2 cards, so probably where you're at, and these are the next 2, which is where you're going. This is the transformation. I can't really imagine a more polarizing set of cards, from literally 8 of Swords feeling stuck, feeling left in the cold, unseen, unheard, and just like you don't have enough, to quite literally having the world in the palm of your hand, as this Emperor has right here. And with the World card, ultimate freedom, the complete opposite of this 8 of Swords, right? We're all tied up, and now she's dancing with no clothes on, in her own circle, in the sky. How much more freeing can a person be than in the clouds? And that's what this transformation is. And I'm kind of seeing a contrast between someone who daydreams a lot, but physically they're a bit stuck. Someone who daydreams because it's not happening in their reality. And so as the daydreams kind of fade away, actual freedom starts to manifest itself physically. And you won't have to daydream if you're actually in the mountains, living in a cabin on a farm with 3 puppies. Because 1 isn't enough. You need 3 puppies. Or cats, or whatever. But I'm being silly. Ace of Swords here too at the bottom of the deck. Which is, it's kind of showing me that the universe hears what you want, right? Very clearly. It's just taking time with the vines, taking time for that to grow. And that's really what this transformation is. So it might be, out of all the piles, I kind of feel like this is also kind of a physical transformation as well. So if you're feeling discomfort or something like that, it's like the body is adjusting to an increase in, I mentioned this, I think, in energy, in an energetic frequency and shift, so that this reality, which can again be as wild as you want it to be, But that does take a lot of energy. That takes a lot of focus. So anyway, let's get some guidance from Kali as to guidance through this transformation from Kali. I'm taking these two. Guidance. I mentioned this in the last card, or in the last pile, but I do think that there's some things coming in from the dream realm, from your dreams, so pay attention to those and write them down. I'm also seeing a potential opportunity, a financial opportunity that's coming to you. So use this very wisely. Use this, whatever comes in, use it like an emperor would, where they're not just thinking about today, but tomorrow and next week and next month, and how this one pentacle can support an entire household or city or whatever. So kind of making the most out of what's given here. With the 9 of Swords, it's kind of like this figure is trying to push away these swords, and these are limiting thoughts, right? So I think part of it is, this might be slightly more difficult part of the transformation, right, where these thoughts are popping up, they're coming into your vision. And I say that because this figure both times is trying, oh man, this is hard to do, there we go, trying to cover up, run away from these thoughts that really, they might be yours, they might be kind of ancestral patterns, they might be family, but either way, all of these thoughts are holding you back. They're holding you back from making this dream a reality, and they're popping up. So instead of running from them, you could call upon Kali to help sever those thoughts from your mind, and those can be replaced with new thoughts or communication from spirit, from yourself, from a part of the universe that wants to create something entirely new, create this world that you've been longing for, really. And then we have the 8 of Cups, representing letting go, moving higher up on the mountain. So I'm imagining sort of this lack mentality that you might have to leave behind, and that includes people who will always try and convince you that to just settle with what you have. That doesn't mean not be grateful, but that also keeps you small, and to be mindful of the people who want to keep you small, because I'm kind of seeing that with the 8 of Swords that showed up, that's someone who's trying to tie you down. And I could see that with an Emperor. You know, I do feel this Emperor is you and something that you want to be, but traditionally, a lot of times with tarot readings, Emperor can represent someone who's oppressive, and so maybe this has something to do with that as well, where it's like this daydream mentality, this lifestyle of living in the mind, and all these thoughts could be manifested from a relationship with that sort of domineering figure in your life. Wow. So, just clarifying this room, we have the 4 of Wands, the Queen of Swords. Interesting. I don't know if some of you came from a different pile, but the King of Swords came up in an earlier reading. We have, I thought this was the Fool, but it's actually the 2 of Pentacles. So, Ace of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, and the last card in the reading. Take a guess. The Emperor. So when I said that number 4, really, that it's very strong with this pile. And like I said just a moment ago, like, you are becoming that emperor of your own life, taking control, but with kindness and an open heart. And the emperor is reminding me of this 4 of Wands energy, where, excuse me, with Venus and Aries, it's love, fiery, passionate love, but also kind of extravagant, right? And so this what's happening is, like, this Pentacles is being taken and transformed, not only to provide for yourself, but to provide for people around you, near you, or who share the same vision as you. So the guidance, like, this pile feels a lot more active, right? Where all of a sudden, especially if you're used to Neptune Pisces energy, there's going to be a lot of opportunity physically, and with money, and with opportunities in the practical sense, and that might be uncomfortable for some of you, day to day, making smart choices that build towards a better tomorrow. And they might not be as fun necessarily, and that's kind of why this Queen of Swords is showing up here, right? Where maybe if you could lean more into that energy, into being, and that's not to say you don't live from the heart, but to always consult with your mind and look ahead, like the Queen of Swords looks ahead. As I said, look towards tomorrow and see the world you want to live in this moment, and what you can do to build towards that. But ultimately, this whole transformation, and the thing that you might want to, I don't know, up to you, of course, but to consider, like, putting an Emperor card and just looking at it, meditating on it, and seeing yourself as this Emperor, and regardless of gender. I mean, I do think it makes a big difference between Empress and Emperor, that this is what you want to be, just because maybe the Empress energy is what feels more comfortable for you. But this is kind of building. This Emperor is at the top of the mountain, and guess what? That top of the mountain is where you were leaving, probably at this time or around this time, literally leaving the cups behind, because these cups were ultimately empty. They might provide, like, short-term satisfaction, but there's nothing stable in it. And I think what you're looking for ultimately is a form of stability on this planet and within yourself. So let's look at, oh no, I lost it. The Oracle card from the beginning, and we'll close out the reading with just a couple words from, I'm shaking because it's freezing. I'm sorry. Oh my god, why is it so cold? Well, we're almost done, so. If I could find this card, there we go. She's not bound by appearances, opinions, or material limitations. That's interesting, considering that 5 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. So there, you might have those material limitations, but what you're manifesting is the opposite of that. But there's also got to be an appreciation for each pentacle in order for it to grow. Where there is lack, she restores abundance. Wow, I didn't read this before. I promise. But she can bring forth exquisite blessing and glorious manifestation from the sacred expanse of nothingness. Your soul can rely upon her completely. Cast your fears away. Hers is the power of the universe combined with the generosity of grace. Prepare yourself by regularly connecting to your heart as you remain open to receive inner guidance on how to proceed. Also take rest and be at peace in your connection with her. Yeah, the Oracle of Caladra, sorry, marks the ending of a cycle after the full moon Was there a moon here? No, that was a different pile. We do have new moon though for you. Following, okay, yeah, and the initiation of a fresh cycle following the black or new moon, when what has fallen away shall rise again in revised form. Our lunar priestess, she who controls the changes taking place in the universe and our lives. We can trust her timing and our own process. Stay true to your inner work and know that your efforts shall bear fruit. I think that's self-explanatory, just a nice way to round up the reading. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments what you think. I love hearing your stories and connecting with you. I don't have any other social media, so this is really nice. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care.